Amazing. Welcome to Andertons TV. My name is Ben. It's my pleasure to introduce Andy. You've absolutely seen him before.
Hello.
He's come from Roland with another foray back into kind of the groovebox world. New MC-707. We'll take a look at its baby brother later. I think today we're just going to have kind of like an overview of the workflow, and we're going to kind of build up a track. Well, actually, I think we're going to take you through how Andy's composed that little groove for us.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So, as I say, we've got the MC-707, brand new groove box, and we've also brought along the new JU-06A for a bit of fun, so we can sample that and do some cool stuff with that as well, which is cool. But yeah, as I say, it's an 8-track groove box. It's got the brand new Roland Zencore sound engine in there, so we can have drums, we can have synths. So I just thought, yeah, it'd be good if we just made some music, really, and like, let's do a bit of a track and show you how it's done.
Sounds perfect. Well, let's start from, well, what we brought in that jam. How have we got the drums set up in this one?
Yeah. So on this particular track on here, we've got all 8 tracks going, I think. And the first one, we've got a CR78 in the pattern, and we'll show you a program in a second. And then we've got a bit of a little sort of more sort of pluck synth. Don't think we've anything on 3. We've got a deep bass line on here. Got a bit of a lead sound. And then another little pluck kind of ambient sound. And I think here, nothing on this one. And then just some extra percussion on here. So
gotcha.
We can have quite a few different things, but let's build it up from scratch maybe. So I'm going to go to Project and create a new one. I'm not going to save that. Well, I have already saved it because it's a masterpiece.
Cool.
I don't want to lose it. So, but when we start with a blank project, so we've got 8 tracks on here, and it gives us a default of having a drum track or and a tone track, which is like a synth one. But you can change those if you want. So we can either make a drum track, a synth track, drums with a compression, or an audio looper track if we want to do some sampling. So we'll do that in a little bit.
So these vertical bits corresponding with the kind of Ableton clip style bit over on the right.
So yeah, you've got your 8 tracks along there, and also the clips for each individual one down.
Perfect.
So on our first one, so we've got drums, and these are our instruments along here. And it defaults to loading in a 909 kit, but if we want to change that, we go sound, hit preset, and we've got loads of different drum kits that we can choose from. You can also, if you want, load in your own waveforms and create your own custom kit, or swap things out, which is cool. But I'm going to choose a CR78, which is quite cool. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a clip, but I'm going to make it 32 steps long, so we can have something a little bit longer. So I'm just going to do Shift and the measure control and set that to be 32. Then if we find our hi-hat, and say if I just put this on, there is a metronome inboard, but I'm just going to do it as kind of like a part of the pattern. Flip over to the other measure and do the same there. And we can do real-time recording on it as well. So one of the cool things about this is you can do unquantized recording.
Gotcha. So you're doing some of that in the jam, I think.
Yeah. So, but for this, I'm going to just go for good old quantize at the moment. So where are we? Here we go.
Hey, you made it.
Yeah. Cool. So that's our basic drum track to go on here. So take it out, record, and I'm going to go to our next track, which is set as a tone. And you can see when we go over here, so now when we're on drums at the bottom here, we had all of the pads lit for the drums, but when we go to a tone track, it's kind of like a keyboard.
Gotcha. Imagine you could connect a separate controller if you wanted a proper keyboard or anything.
Yeah, if you plug in a MIDI controller, you can play it on there. And I think it's got polyphony of 16, I think, on those. So it's quite a bit that you can do with it. So if we load in a different sound for this, I'm going to go to my presets. And there's different categories, so we'll choose something from this polykey sound. So I've got this wide pluck sound. So load that in. And if we shift it up an octave, again, we can sort of record onto the this. So as my pattern's going, I can just hit record. And when I'm ready,
super simple. I like
it, which is cool. And then we can make like our next track. So as soon as I go to a blank track on the screen, it asks me what kind of track I want to create. So I can create, say, a tone track, another drum track,
with that drum and compression, what's the deal there? Is it literally like a stereo track that just has a compressor on the output type
basically,
situation?
Yeah. Just to give it a bit more beef, essentially. And but we'll make a tone track. So we're going to make a bass sound. So I'm just going to create a clip. And likewise, I'm just going to make this to be a longer clip to give us something a bit longer. So you can go up to 128 steps in a clip. So cool. We'll just do that for now. And select my sound. And this time we want a bass. I quite like this dark sub bass. Nice and deep. So
Easy.
Nice. So we've got our bass line down. And one thing that we can do, which is quite cool, is that so we have got our JU-06A here, so we can sample that into the pattern, which is really cool. So because we've got this connected via MIDI, once I turn this up, it's going. We should have. Sorry, I just need to turn up the input gain. Sounds really good.
Is that just a sequence that's running on the JU-06?
Yeah. So we. So this is just triggering a pattern that's already in here, but if you wanted to, like we've been writing patterns on here, because these match up to the MIDI channels, so if I wrote in a pattern, say on track 8.
It'd be MIDI channel 8.
Yeah, and then you can just enable that and send it out. So you can use this to play other gear as well, which is wicked.
One question I do have quickly is you had, you said you can have clips up to 128 steps. Yeah. If you had 2 tracks, one was just like an 8-step clip or something, or 16. You had one at a 15. All good to have that fun kind of interplay with the strange pattern lengths.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. They don't have to. They don't have to be of the same kind of division. You could have one that's just say in 3s that's just going around in a triplet groove or stuff like that. So yeah, you can do whatever you want, which is wicked. So if we wanted to sample in this bass line, so what we need to do, so we go to our new track. And this time we create a looper track, so it's like an audio loop.
Okay.
And we go to our input, and we choose what's the recording source. So you could, if you wanted to, you can actually sample from any of the tracks, or you could sample the actual mix.
Oh, so like if, let's say you run out of tracks, but you maybe use them all for a really complicated drum groove or something, you could basically bounce it down into one track.
Yeah, totally.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then process that as audio as well, so you can get some cool effects and things.
Awesome.
So, very, very cool. So basically, we're recording from the external in. It has got a send and return on it, and if you are using like an external effects return, you can actually sample it with the send and return in it, which is also really cool. But we're just going to record literally 1 bar, and which track are we doing it on? Number 4. So I basically hit record, and when we hit go, it'll trigger this, and it'll record in. So now turn this down, and now we have that on here.
You can see while it was going, when you press record, and we had a nice, like the red flashing thing, and then it immediately went green after, I imagine, the clip finished? Is that how you set
because
that up?
we set it to be recording 1 bar, so as soon as it's finished recording, it's like cycles out.
Gotcha.
And so then we've got, because we have some 3 control dials on here, you can see they're sort of labeled filter, modulation, and FX. But on, but you can reassign to what they are. But actually on audio stuff, so we have sort of chromatic pitch. If you want to sort of transpose and things, you can get some kind of glitchy stuff. We also have reverse.
Okay, nice.
Which is quite cool. And what have we got here? Like our reverb send. But we can assign to do different things if we wanted to. So we're kind of building something up there, which is quite cool. So what we can do is, so like, the cool thing is because we can have different sections of performances, is like, so for instance, our drum groove on there, I could go over to that first clip and think, right, well, I want to change it a little bit now for a different section of the song. So I could go and copy that clip and then paste it in the one below and ask me, do I want to paste everything? So you could just record the phrase and load in a different sound. But now that I've got that second clip, if I...
So like the preset of the sound is assigned to each clip as well?
It can be, yeah, if you wanted to.
If you want it to be.
So that's quite cool. But yeah, so if we go to like our second clip on this one and go into edit it, so say for instance I want to have a different kick pattern on here, so if I hold clear and press the kick drum, that gets rid of that.
Gotcha.
and then we can go back into record. I've lost where we are. I'm working on Quantize there, but you can do on Quantize recording, or if you wanted to, you can actually quantize it after you've done it. So if you want to put in a live performance. So let's do something like that. So if we take off Quantize, and we'll just do some 16th notes this one. Great, record. So that's kind of put in there, but if I wanted to, if I go Shift Quantize, I can choose how much I want to do it. So I could say by the clip, I could just do, say, 30% or something like that. And I can even go into the clip and I can add some shuffle as well. So if I just want to add just a little bit to give it a bit of mood, you can do.
It looks like it was also just taking velocity information in there at the same time.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Perfect.
And actually, yeah, if you want to do that, so if you hold down a particular step, actually you can then manually adjust the velocity. You can also adjust the
steps. What's this sub-step thing? What's that about?
So yeah, if you, on that particular step, if you put a sub-step on, then it'll play say a half note or a third or a quarter note or even a flam on that particular step. So if I put it on half, so we should go, so you can hear that first one.
Right, so it's kind of that little, that's what you've called ratcheting, I guess. Some people call it ratcheting.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. And as you say, in this option as well, for the drums, we also have a sort of a mute probability.
Amazing. Always like that kind of thing.
Yeah. So if you set it to be, say, like 33%, it means 33% of the time it won't play that, which is quite cool. So that just gives you a bit of a random kind of feel, which is nice.
There was a start thing in there as well. You're just holding down a start with a percentage on it as well.
So this is really this is to do with the position of the note. So if you're so for instance, if we had 100% quantize it, that would be on 0%. So this is just reflecting, I suppose, my poor human timing, that I was 29% away from the start of the note. But you could, if you wanted to, manually adjust it and go, manual negative shuffle as well.
Yeah, gotcha.
Which is quite cool.
Nice one. What's the next step?
So we've got a little groove going. So if we choose like a next track, and let's get for another tone one. And sound for this, what did I have before? I think I had some and because we have a filter control and reverb on there, so we can record something in. So again, I'm going to create a clip, and let's make that a bit longer so that we can do something a bit more interesting. So 128 steps, and we hit record and just play something in. So. Timing was a bit off on that one, but it's okay, we're okay. And then you can just bring in stuff at different levels. The other thing, because you can have it for live performance, so we have like a mute section for all of our clips. So if we go to clip, we can sort of trigger different things. So if I wanted to go back to that first drum beat when it's playing, I can just trigger the other clip, and it goes back to that pattern. But we also have a mute section, and in the mute section we can choose
solo and mute, something like that.
No, actually, this is mute at the end of the bar, and then instant mutes.
That's pretty cool.
So that can be quite handy. So we can say like that plucky sound. So it's waiting for the bars and stuff, and or we can have just instant ones, which is pretty cool.
Gotcha. With the clip view, obviously we've got a grid of sort of 8 downwards. Can you scroll through it with that?
Yeah.
Amazing.
And
intuitive. There we go. Nice and easy to use without reading anything.
And you can also save scenes. So if we've got this collection of clips playing at the moment, we think this is cool. I like this for my main section. If I hold down scene number 1, it says store scene number 1. And then if we were to change our clips, so we've just got this going. When I press scene 1, at the end of the bar line, it'll bring them back in.
Gotcha.
So
can we take a look at the kind of the global effects, the effects that we've got available per channel? Because we might want to grab a delay on one of those. Or something.
Yeah. So as I say, we've got we have an effect setting up here, and then also we have our sort of parameter knobs on here.
Yeah.
So for each of the instruments, so for instance, this one going on here. So if we go to our knob assign, we can choose what they're assigned to. So for our effects one, I could choose that to be a delay send if I wanted to, or an octave shift, or vibrato delay. So if I set that to be on as a delay send,
easy.
And then at the top on here, we can have our sort of our reverb and delay sort of switches. And if we go shift on that, we have different types of delay that we can choose. So we can choose sort of tap control delay, or even you swap them out for like choruses. So if you didn't want delay, we can run it through the Juno 106 chorus as well.
Gotcha.
Pretty cool.
So do you only have like 2 master effects available?
So yeah, master effects or like send effects, you've got reverb and delay, but the delay could be a chorus.
You can swap them out for things, yeah.
But then also we do have sort of a global multi-effects that we can apply, so you can have different like multi-mode
Oh, that would be
filter.
like when we sort of filtered it out earlier, that would just be on the effects over there.
Yeah, but also for each of the sounds, so because you can completely customize them. So if we go to edit this particular sound...
Oh, hey, there's all the synth engine.
Yeah, so I say it's got the same Zencore synth engine that's in the Phantom, actually.
Yeah.
So we have 4 oscillators, and from an effects point of view as well, you can add onto that particular sound a multi-effect onto it.
Okay.
So this one has got like a lo-fi compressor, but we've got pitch shifters, we've got overdrive into flanges and chorus. There's about, I think, about 90 or so different effects that you can choose.
Anything you could want.
Yeah. And again, like if you wanted to just apply its own delay on that and then not have it as like a master effect, you could do. The other cool thing about the synth engine is that you, for your oscillators, so we're just using one of the presets at the moment, which is running on a virtual analog thing. But if you wanted to, you can use one of the PCM samples that are internal there, but you can load in your own as well. So if you've made a sample from a synth or something that you've got at home, you can load it in and then play it notes-wise and make a pattern out of it as well. So
amazing.
Really, really cool.
Cool, so we've got, you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of live performance applications for this. I believe some of them live in this corner. Tell me about those.
Yeah. So we've already had a look at muting clips and just starting clips and stopping them. Then when you're in the notepad mode, that is when we were sort of playing our sounds polyphonically, or as notes. We have a chord mode on here, so this is quite cool actually. Like, so you can see it's still got the keyboard, but it's a slightly different color. For each of these, we can save in a 4-note chord. Okay. So if you go into customize it for each of the pads, you can specify a 4-note chord. So if you're doing a live performance, so at the moment it's just set on, it defaults as just being a 5th on each note. Gotcha. But actually you can set them to be whatever you want. So if you want to program in 4 notes of a sequence, that can be really handy. And then the last one on here, so we have 16 different algorithms of scatter. So
I remember them fondly from the TR8.
Yeah.
Those are good.
So so any of you, if you've got our other IRA products, you'll know the scatter function. So if we play something, we can have some quite extreme ones. But each of these can be completely customizable. So we have 16 different algorithms, but again, you can change the amount of grain. So as it's playing, change the extremity if it holds, how much it re-triggers. You can go quite extreme. And also you can apply a multi-effects to the scatter as well. So some of those ones,
obviously got some
delay on it. So you can do that. And the other cool thing is because if you like, say, the way that the scatter effect is doing, you can also actually then re-record that back in. So like if we set up a new track as an audio loop, and
you set the source as like the master out. That's how we did it. Ah, amazing.
Yeah. So if we set record source to be mix out.
So if you want to do that kind of thing, you do still have to have like one track left to kind of record into.
Yeah. But you could, I mean, that's the thing. You could come up with a particular section, so kind of like an old sort of 4-track tape machine.
Yeah, it's literally just bouncing it down to a track.
You know. So let's say if we've got this playing with that on it. So if I hit record and we play it. And now that's recorded on here. I can reverse that, pitch it, or do whatever I want, and use that as kind of like extra layers and stuff. So it can be really.
It's pretty meaty. You could probably do that live if you wanted.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Too bad. I did just see this motion bit here. I'm going to take a wild guess. Is that, let's say you've got a filter on a synth or something, record filter movements in?
Absolutely, yeah. So where is our...
Look at all this intuitiveness, it's amazing. Anyway.
So is our bass line from... So our bass line from the Juno is on this track on here.
We can filter the audio though, can't we? We can do if we want.
Yeah, well, so for instance, we've got reverse assigned to that. So I could have that going through the, say at one point, so if I hit record.
There we
just
go.
record that in, you know? So you can do some cool stuff like that and get some really good performance things on the go in real time.
Perfect. So a quick overview of connectivity, and then I think we've basically covered the whole thing.
Yeah.
If we have a quick gander over here, might need a little bit of a close-up. We see we've got headphones on the left, stereo out. What can we do with the assignable output? I know you mentioned the effects return, send and return earlier.
So it has, so it has the separate send and return. But the assignable out is just if you wanted to have a particular track going out.
Just separately?
Just a separate one you could do. So I suppose in a way with a send and return, maybe you could use that as its own. If you weren't using the return, you could use that as another kind of output perhaps if you wanted to. But yeah, it's just so it has the main out and then also an assignable out that you can go to. Also around the back we have our SD card slot. So you can, so all of your projects and your samples are saved on the SD card, so you can...
Easy backing up, of course.
Exactly. So you can have 12 minutes of sampling time in mono, 6 minutes in stereo. And then we have one MIDI in, but 2 MIDI outs as well, which is really handy. So if you want to switch channels and have different devices connected. Plus USB for good old recording into your computer.
Is that all that do multi-track stuff?
Yes, it will do over those. But you can also sample, like one of the record sources for the sampler is we can also set that to be PC. So
from the USB?
So you can sample from that as
well. Super flexible. Cool. Nice one. And you could plug a guitar into that external in and just literally do looping that way as well.
Yeah, you could do. It's not got the... it has like a microphone sensitive preamp. It's not a high Z one specifically for guitars, but yeah, or if you had like a little
multi-effects pedal board or something like it. Maybe Helix, chuck that in.
Yeah.
So we've taken a look at the big brother, the MC-707. We also have this teeny tiny battery powerable little version, the MC-101, which one of our regular customers, Alan, pointed out to me the other day, because he's purchased one of these. It is actually basically a little bit thicker than like a VHS cassette. That's basically kind of the size of the thing. It's amazing. And actually, one of my other friends, Nigel, how you doing? We're going to be seeing this at my synth meet, Modular Cafe Aldershot. Be there. Anyway, fantastic little device, super portable, which is amazing. But you should be able to let us know. What do you lose when you go down for the little teeny tiny portable baby one?
So the good thing with the MC-101 is it has the same synth library that we get in the MC-707.
Full deal.
Full the same thing,
Same synth engine, everything in there?
Same synth engine, everything. Wow. The only thing is that you can't really do as much editing on it. So like as we looked at on the 707, you can completely customize all the waveforms and everything like that. On this one, we can apply filters and effects and sound stuff, but we can't sort of get into the sort of the guts of it and change stuff on there. But you can load in samples. So on this one, you can't sample onto it directly like we did with the bass line on the 707, but you can load in your own samples over SD card and work on that. The other cool thing about this though is that, so this is a 4-track version of it, sorry. But if you make a project on this, you can then take it and put it in the MC-707 and work on it. So because this is battery powered.
Yeah, you mentioned like 4-track tape. It's 4 tracks.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Exactly. So if you want to make something on the bus and then think, right, this is great, and then I can go home and work on it more, then you can do that as well.
Nice.
But the way things are, so let's see if we've got... So this was kind of like trying to channel like some sort of like 80s kind of like synthwave kind of thing. So just to kind of show you what we've got going on here. So on track 1, I've got drums.
Yeah.
It's great. And the way that this programs, so in the same way that we've selected our drum kit, is that if we go to note on here, so I have all of my different instruments. And then when we go to the sequencer, so if I've chosen my bass drum, if I go to the sequencer, you can see that I've just got 4 to the floor. But if I put in another one,
I want one. This isn't
great.
fair.
And then yeah, so like, but again, we can do, we can record in live. So if I've got, say, let's just put some of this. I don't think we've got any of that going. Yeah, so we've put in this, and we can do non-quantized recording as well. So if I hit this, and it kind of preserves the timing and stuff that we've got on there, which is cool.
I imagine overall there's going to be a little bit more shift pressing because you physically don't have all the buttons there.
There's a little bit. Well, I say there's a little bit of shift pressing, but it's not too bad actually, because if you think about it, you can sort of perform in live. If you wanted to, you know, we were making sort of longer patterns on this one. Again, you can make them to be same kind of thing. So just shift and measure. If I wanted to change the number of steps, I could, you know, go all the way up to 128 again. With this one, if you, so we, on the 707, we were launching kind of like scenes. On this one, because if we go to clip, so for each instrument, we can store in 16 clips.
Yeah.
And if I wanted to sort of launch every clip that's on, for my 4 tracks on number 1, so I'd hold clip and press 1.
Gotcha.
So the cool thing about the 707 is that you can, you know, you can set up your scenes to be whatever clips you want. Whereas on this one, really, it seems it's like, right, I'm launching all the clips on 1 and stuff. So there, you know, there's a couple of
still got the mute stuff in there because there isn't a dedicated button for
it. No, there isn't not the same kind of level of mute stuff, unfortunately. But that's some of the performance things, yeah, you do get with the 707.
Gotcha.
But then when we go, what have we got here? Sort of a nice kind of Blade Runner-y style type things, which works so good with the drums. I love this. So if we go to note for that, so for our track 2, so again, like we had the keyboard on here, we
still there.
Yeah, so we still have our notes, but we can play. So when I recorded this, we just played in chords, and you can go octave up and down on them.
Easy.
And I just played in that live, but again, you could do for a sequence note, so you could choose sequence it in and step sequence it in, which is cool. And then what have we got on track 3? And we've got these controls over here. So if we choose filter, so it'd be track 3 actually. So sorry, yeah, with these ones, if I press filter, so that's for the filter of track 2, this is track 3.
Gotcha.
And then effects, so we've got a reverb send.
Cool.
And then on track... So for track 4, it'll always be knob 4, and then you just choose which parameter, so...
Yeah, it's pretty immediate. Seems makes sense to my little brain.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you don't lose out too much when you go for the little one.
No, and we've still got the scatter function.
Oh, we still have scatter as well.
Yeah, so we've still got the same. So
lots of options to be had.
It's so much fun, this, because you can just sit there in front of the TV with your headphones or on batteries or wherever you want. Just, you know, take it on the bus, go to the park, in the pub or wherever, and just have some fun making music.
Well, with the USB power, you could just use a phone battery bank or something, couldn't you? If you
Oh,
don't
totally.
want to use batteries all the time.
Yeah, I should have said, it can be battery. Either battery powered or powered by USB.
Amazing. So. I'm going to leave you to give us a little jam with that track that you've made for us.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for watching this grooveboxy type video. I've been Ben, that's been Andy.
Cheers.
That's been the Maltese Falcon hiding over at the back.
Woo!
I'll see you later. Take it away, Andy.
Cheers.